to Sports Talk with PlayerAgent3. My next guest, former 90s NC State Wolfpack point guard, Concord, North Carolina native, Mr. Ishua Benjamin. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I appreciate that too. You let everybody know I'm from Concord, not Charlotte.
Hey, man, glad to have you on the show, man. But real quick, man, how do you pronounce your first name?
Ishua.
Ishua. Okay. Just wanted to make sure, man. I didn't tear it up, you know.
People been tearing it up my whole entire life.
All right, man. So yeah, when you talk about Concord, man, talk about, you know, just growing up in that area. And I'm sorry to put Charlotte in that area, but that whole Concord Charlotte area is, you know, it's pretty much synonymous with each other. So talk about, you know, growing up in in Concord.
Man, it was great. It was great, man. Sports wise, you know, Charlotte was the standard for us. You know, everybody look at Concord as a small city outside of Charlotte. But I remember as a little kid, I played all my AAU basketball in Charlotte with the Charlotte Royals.
Yeah.
I played with DeMarco Johnson, Darren Green, Moncrief Michael, Antoine Jameson. And I remember in high school, we used to go to Charlotte to play. Concord was a small 3A school. We go play the West Charlottes of the world, you know, the North Mex, the South Mex, man. And that right there made us tougher. You know, Charlotte was like the bigger city for us to get out there, get that grit, that grind, that toughness. You know, you get beat by, if you got a chance to get beat by 60 and you lose by 60, beat somebody by 60, you beat them by 60, and then you tell them go get better. But no complaints about that stuff. You know, when you go to Charlotte, you better come with your A game. If not, you're going to get beat by 100 and ain't nobody going to feel sorry for you.
All right. So can you think back to those times when, you know, the first time that you picked up a basketball? Because I'm sure you played more than just basketball growing up. But when did you first pick up a basketball?
Man, I picked up I was a football player to start out with. A lot of people don't know, like, you got Nate Means and Jimmy Hitchcock from Concord, Jay Graham from Concord, North Carolina. You know, football was first there. You know, and then I remember really getting serious about basketball about 9 years old. I'm a self-taught player. You know, I go see everybody, all the big guys play in the gyms and stuff. I go to the parks, and I'd be at the parks and wherever I could go play by myself all the time. Because the only thing I wanted to do was get on the court with the big boys.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when you talk about Ishua Benjamin, man, and you talk about your high school career, a lot of people, I'm sure a lot of people know, but a lot of people don't know that you had a stellar high school career, man. You were a parade All-American. You won AAU championships, All-State. Talk about that whole high school experience for you.
Man, I come from a pedigree to where we were taught how to win. No matter where you go, you learn how to win. My high school teams, you know, a lot of people don't know Jason Stowe. You know, a lot of people don't and never heard of Matt Allen. You know, Sean Black. You know, whose son is Leaky Black. You know what I'm saying? So those guys played before me. Frazier Reed. You know, these guys played before me. My high school coach is in the Hall of Fame. Bo Brickles. You know, and I remember watching those guys, and he tell me all the time, you know, that man's been very instrumental in my career ever since I was young. You know, he told them, my coaches, teach him how to play everything. You know, so I started out as a post player. And then I wasn't very big, but I always learned how to play every position. And then once I got to high school, you know, I came off the bench. I had to learn my role. First thing I learned how to do was defend, you know, and it wasn't easy. It was not easy. Coach B drove my tail every day, you know, to get out there on the floor. You know, I remember going to teen camp. He told us not to ride in the Jeep and take the doors off. I jumped in, the doors off, got to camp. He put me on the bench. This is my senior year. You know, I wanted to win everything. You know, the coach asked me one time, going to my senior year. This is after I got into the Nike All-American game. I was named the best player in the state. He goes, I know you can come in and you can set all kinds of records at Concord, scoring records, whatever. He said, but you can also leave here as the most winningest player to ever come through this program. He said, which one do you want to do? And I said, I want to win. He said, well, score 20 and make everybody else better. So I had to figure out a way to do it all. You know, in my senior year, I averaged almost a quadruple double. You know, 20 points, 8 assists, 8 steals, 8 rebounds. And whatever my team needed me to do, I did those things. I also played with a guy, Kenyon Weeks, who played in Florida with Billy Donovan at the time.
Mm-hmm. So, and this is the thing that, you know, looking at your numbers from high school, did it ever come to a point to where you thought about the Oak Hill academies and you know, some of the other top prep schools that a lot of kids, with the numbers that you have, they'll leave for their senior season to go play at, you know, one of those prep schools. Did that ever cross your mind in high school?
It did, man. Back then, you know, Oak Hill was the big deal. You know, we played against Oak Hill when I was in high school. Twice I played against them. You know, my junior and my senior year. I remember going to my high school coaches and saying, hey, man, I'm thinking about going to Oak Hill Academy. I could have gone to Farragut out there with Kevin Garnett. And he looked at me and he said, that doesn't make sense. You know, I said, what do you mean? He goes, what difference does it make? You're getting everything here that you would get there. You know, back then I wasn't looking at the competition that I would have been playing against and the guys I would have been playing with, because we worked in Concord. You know, the recruiting process for me was you're already on that stage and you're being recruited by everybody. You know, my final was down between Duke, Kansas, and North Carolina State. You know, so he was like, that's not going to help your recruiting. Stay here, get done what you need to get done here. And I trusted him. I trusted everything that he said. You know, I had good guidance at an early age. And, you know, there was a bit of loyalty with the people I grew up with.
Mm-hmm. And talking about that, man, staying with that theme, how was high school recruiting for you with the numbers that you had? Talk about some of the schools that recruited you.
And it was wild. It was wild. It seemed like, you know, once I left Nike camp and did great on the AAU scene, had those championships, man. You know, John Thompson came to the hood in Concord. You know, Nolan Richardson from Arkansas. Yeah, they came down. You know, I had Roy Williams, Coach K, came to my little neighborhood. You know, walking through the neighborhood, come to my little apartment, even at the school. It got to the point to where those phone calls was unbelievable. You know, we didn't have cell phones back then. Yeah. That phone call was coming on the house phone, and every time the phone would ring, I get on the phone. It felt like I was on the phone for felt like all day. So one of the things that he had to do was put down a time of when I was going to be able to talk on the phone to talk to coaches. So I think like my hours was from 6 to 9 o'clock p.m. for me to be able to entertain phone calls, you know, and a lot of those calls had to go through my high school coach. You know, I tell people that's going through that process now that you still got to organize your time to where you can still get your work done. And there's a time to entertain those calls at the time so that I don't get overwhelmed and I still was able to be a kid.
Mm-hmm. When your senior season at Concord, did you feel like you had to go to Charlotte? I don't care if it was in the park, in the gym, or some type of tournament. Did you feel like you had to go to Charlotte to let those dudes know what time it was? For you being in Concord, and you know, because Charlotte has produced a lot of great basketball players as well. I know Jeff McInnes was a year or two ahead of you. But you feel like you had to go to Charlotte to stake your claim?
Let's get this understood first and foremost. We don't duck anybody in Concord at that time. You know, so when my high school coach was coming up with our schedule, I said if they're considered the best team in the state, put them on the schedule. I want to play everybody. I wasn't worried about how big the school was, height, all that other stuff. Like I said, we played Oak Hill Academy my two years in high school. My when I was in the 8th grade, my high school team played Oak Hill Academy when they had Anthony Cade, I'm sorry, Junior Burroughs and those guys.
Yeah.
You know, so one of the things is I want to play against the best. That's the only way you're going to get better. That's the only way you're going to get tougher, and we're going to compete against those guys. You know, we played against Oak Hill when Jerry and Jeff was at Oak Hill Academy, you know, and then the following year, it was Curtis Staples and that crew that came through. You know, we took a 10-point beat down and a 20-point beat down, you know, but we were in the game the whole entire time. I played West Charlotte a lot in Concord. That's after West Charlotte won those state championships. That was the measuring stick at the time. North Mac with DeMarco, and Larry Patterson, you know, but a large majority of the battles that I had in Charlotte came from AAU. You know, a lot of people forget the Charlotte Sonics and the Charlotte Royals was a big time with 2 big time programs, and that was a big time rivalry for us at the time.
Right.
So every game was a go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember those Charlotte Royal, those teams, man. They were bringing Jeff Capel, a lot of players from other areas, man. They was bringing those players to that organization. Yeah.
You gotta understand, man. Back then, the AAU to me, if you were on the team, you were legit. Mm-hmm. You had to be legit to be on the team. It wasn't no go out there and just get whatever you can. You know, when you go out there and you play those national tournaments, you're playing against the best of the best.
Right. Why NC State?
NC State, I felt like I'm a homegrown kid. I'm from North Carolina. I felt like that's a program that I could have gone to and helped turn it around. You know, NC State at the time was at the bottom. Mm-hmm. You know, and then we had to build up. You know, I get there, you know, CC Harrison comes in. I thought there was a lot of talent there. You know, and I thought that I could go anywhere because number one, I was built on winning and being able to play right away and get better at it. You know, I had no intention of coming in and not playing for anything less than the championship.
Mm-hmm. Your freshman season, man, was stellar. You know, all freshman team. You know, you put in a lot of work. Freshman point guard, 6'5" at that. Playing in the Premier Conference year in and year out, the ACC, man. Talk about that freshman year, man, and what was it like to battle, you know, the Dukes, the Carolinas, the Wake Forest, that whole situation, being fresh out of high school.
And it was tough. You know, you get thrown in the fire. You know, it doesn't help that my first game that I scored a bunch of points, my first real college game. And then right after that, we played Kansas on national TV. They're number 2 in the country. Jacques Vaughn was the point guard at the time. You know, and I remember coming in at halftime, man, I've always had good upperclassmen that really pushed me. You know, I remember coming in after halftime, I had 2 points. And Mark Davis gave me the business at halftime. Like, hey, dude, you all this, you all that. You know, you ain't doing nothing. You know, and I'm sitting there looking at him, and I'm like, okay, I tell you what, let's have the same conversation after the game. You know, and I go back out there, and I end up playing a pretty good game. Finished, I think, with 28 at the time. But we ended up losing by 2. You know, but then I got to go out. Every night was a challenge. You know, you got to play Corey Alexander at Virginia, who also had Harold Dean at the time. Travis Best was at Georgia Tech. You know, you also had Bob Sura at Florida State. You know, Randolph Childress at Wake Forest. Yeah. You know, I remember getting ready to go on the grind on the road trip, and I'm like, man, I gotta go to bed at night. You know, that this is gonna be tough. Cause every night you're playing against a pro pretty much every night. So you get no letdowns. And you got to go out there and you got to prove yourself.
Take me back, man. First time at Cameron Indoor Stadium. What was going through your mind?
I'm about to get at these dudes. It was going through my mind. You know, I was excited about going into Cameron. We're playing against Duke. Wojo is in my class. Ricky Price is in my class. I've seen Jeff. I actually took a visit to Duke, you know, and I ended up going to state, you know, and I had an uncle that played football at Duke at the time. So I was super excited about going in there. And the only thing on my mind is what do we need to do to go win a game? Now, the Cameron Crazies was not prepared for anything that they did that night at all. Everything's in sync, small gym. It's a great atmosphere. Great atmosphere.
First time at the Smith Center as a freshman.
That was different. That right there was different, you know, because we had played Carolina at NC State and won. Beat them. They were number 1 in the country. Beat them. Had a really decent game. You know, they had Jeff McGinnis, Rashid, and Jerry. So we go into the Dean Dome. Big atmosphere. Big gym. First thing you see is all the banners. You see all the powder blue and white in the building, and everybody's just cheering. And I don't know, that court is super bouncy. Mm-hmm. Super bouncy. And then game starts, and they proceed to put a blitz screen on us between Donald knocking down every jumper that he had, and Jerry and Rashid just doing their thing, and then you got Jeff, who's always full of energy, just hyping everybody up. So that and at the time you had the legendary Dean Smith coaching the team too. So that crowd gets pretty rowdy whenever you're in there. It's an intimidating environment when you go in there.
Looking back on your time playing in the ACC, what would you say your welcome to the ACC moment was?
There's a couple of them. I think probably my welcome to the ACC was having to guard Bob Sura when I didn't have a clue who he was. But by the time that game ended, after he stole the ball from me 2 straight times and then laid it in, and then end of the game, I see the confetti coming out of the rafters. Talking about he had just had a triple-double. I was sitting there and I'm looking around like, who is this guy? You know, I was like, that's Bobby Sura. He's one of the best players in the league. You know, and then after that, I gotta go get a taste of Virginia. And Harold Dean and Corey Alexander and Curtis Staples, those Virginia teams was tough. Yeah. You know, and physical at the time. You know, and it's just I never heard anybody constantly, hey, this dude talk too much. Run him off me. You know, that's the first time I ever had somebody really coming at me all the time. You know, and it opened up my eyes like, man, I got to bring it. I got to get a lot better. Not only offensively, but you better find a way defensively to be able to hang with these guys.
Right. So being a 6'5" point guard, did you ever feel like you had an advantage playing those guys in the ACC? Because you don't back in those days, you didn't see a lot of 6'5" point guards.
Every time, you know, I'm sitting there looking at it, and we ran the old UCLA offense my freshman year. So that's a hit the wing. I'm coming off a pin down. I'm coming off a back screen into the post. You know, my theory, I'm not trying to prove to anybody that I can do something that I don't want to. I'm trying to do what I can do to win. So my thing was, hey, let me post this little guy right here on the block, just dump it down. I just jump over the top and knock down the shot. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of times if you go back in and look at footage, they had me and Ty Fuller sitting out there, sitting on both on the block, and I'm telling Ty, get out the way. Mm-hmm. You know, that's my mentality. I'm not trying to break you down off the dribble crossover. Nah, I'm gonna go easy. I got this mouse in the house right here. Just throw me the ball. I'm gonna go over the top. You know, I think coming out of high school, I was very well prepared for the college game because I worked on the fundamentals. You know, back then the game was played within 2 to 3 dribbles max. You know, to play with a purpose. And the other part was, you know, me being 6'5", I can make a pass. I can see over the defense, play unselfishly. And man, this guy's open. Let me figure out how I can get to this paint and dump the ball off to Todd or let me hit Lakeisha McCullough in the corner. I remember going to Keisha, look, dude, when I drive this ball, sprint to the corner. Because if I get a paint touch and you open in that corner, I'm hitting you with this pass and knocking this thing down. Because if you knock that down, it's going to loosen everything up for me to do the damage in the paint that I want to do. So it made life a lot easier to have weapons around me and understand what I needed to do to be successful.
Now you mentioned earlier that you played against the likes of Vince Carter, Antoine Jameson, Jeff McInnes, Jerry Stackhouse. You also got a chance to play against Stephon Marbury, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah.
Well, when you were playing those guys, did you have the confidence that you're just as good as these guys and you can do just as much as these guys when you were going up against those type of guys who went on to play in the NBA and make millions of dollars?
Absolutely, man. There's no need to be in that league if you don't have confidence. When these guys come in, they're highly talented. You knew Steph coming in was going to be a one and done guy. My thing is, I'm seasoned. He get a ball. It's my turn to try and introduce him to the league. That guy was really good. He was doing things then, pull up jumper, getting off the ground from deep. Is very crafty with the ball. And the only difference between a lot of those teams is the coaching at the time. You got various different coaching styles. That helps you get prepared. It's very important that whenever you do go to a school, you handle your business on the court, but also you got to put in that extra work too, outside of just stepping out there on the court and playing. Systems are very important to certain players. Certain systems allow guys to maximize their full potential while they're out there on the court and they're playing. The last guy on a lot of people don't understand, the last guy on an ACC roster is pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. Those guys can play. We didn't win much at NC State, but a lot of people respected the fact that we played hard. If you call any of us outside of the system, then you understand, man, these dudes can actually really, really, really play. Really, really, really play. Because a lot of times you held with restrictions and you do what you need to do for your team to succeed.
Now we talked about your freshman year, man. You had a stellar freshman year. Between your freshman season and your senior season, your production had dwindled. Did that mess with your psyche in terms of being here as a freshman and your production going down as a sophomore, junior, and a senior? How did you handle that whole situation?
It's called life. Is what I call it. Mm-hmm. Going to my sophomore year, I got suspended from the team academically. Mm-hmm. Didn't understand, according to the ACC, I was eligible to play. According to NC State standards, I was not eligible to play. People don't understand those things. And at the time, I'm 18, 19 years old. I'm thinking everything's good. But then I got hit with the reality check that you got to handle your business on and off the court. And it just felt like at that time, nobody was really fighting to help me out. It was those hard lessons that you got to learn. And it's not really being explained to you to me at the time, which I felt that somebody never put their arm around me and told me it was going to be okay and helped me navigate my way through my failures at that time. And I had to figure things out. I went to a big mental depression to try to get myself out of it, and thank God I had a strong family support. And then I met people along the way that kind of helped get me back to being the person that I am. I found out there was more to life than just basketball at the time. Right. That I figured out that, there's a whole nother side of basketball that I didn't even think about. My whole entire life, I was always taught if you work hard and you do this, you do that, you're gonna be rewarded. And that's not what it is when it came to that. It was, you got to learn how to adjust to every situation, and I became depressed for a while. I went through all the phases, talking to psychologists, been on medication, all that stuff. And I had to reinvent who I was and figure things out, and then get myself back to being just happy, just enjoying the game. Basketball at that time became a business to me, and not everybody loves you. So I had to figure out a way to get to being happy and really getting back to loving the game of basketball. And that's one of the biggest lessons that I learned, that you have to stay true to who you are. That mental health stuff is real.
Yeah.
That mental health stuff is real.
Mental health stuff. You did get an opportunity to play professionally overseas. Talk about that transition from college to being a professional basketball player.
I mean, it was great. Everybody wants to play in the NBA, and it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Not everybody gets to go, but I still got an opportunity to get paid to play. Mm-hmm. And you find out that people really do know who you are. You get to prove yourself, and then I go overseas, and everywhere I went, I've had success, played hard, played well, big time defender. People figured out I could score a little bit while I was over there. Now you've been a professional, you got to conduct yourself likewise. So the big thing that I learned over there is enjoy life. Basketball got an opportunity gave me an opportunity to go travel the world and see different things. And then you're also playing against guys that I played against when I was in high school and when I was in college, and you see them all over the place. Basketball is a small community. Right.
Exactly. Fast forward to 2021. You're now Coach Benjamin instead of the player. Did you always want to be a coach, or is this something that just fell in your lap?
It's something that fell in my lap, man. I remember when I quit playing basketball, I didn't want to coach, and then unfortunately enough, I had a kid that was playing, and I was like, I want to be around that. So I've always been around that. I'll never forget, Quentin Jackson is the person that actually turned me on. He said, I got an AAU program, come coach the kids. And I said, all right, I'll do it. And then got out there, got to coaching the kids, man, and enjoyed it. I was watching kids grow, got a chance to impact a lot of kids. And then I started coaching high school basketball actually JV basketball at Leesville Road, and coached a couple good teams there. Did some AAU coaching with Garner Road as well. And then I ended up moving away to Georgia, watching my son play, and then I went to Alabama to watch my son play. While I was there, I was doing some coaching out there, and then got an opportunity to come back to Cary Academy and coach high school basketball there, and really try to impact certain kids' lives. I love coaching. It's one of the things I get to get a chance to get back.
Now, in your coaching journey, do you look back on some of the coaches that you played for and incorporate some of their coaching styles into your coaching style today? Absolutely.
I implement some things that I learned with my high school coach. Some of my college coaches stuff I implement. I got a lot of Herb Sendek philosophy with me. Some of my pro coaches, mentally wise, and then I developed my own philosophy. At the end of the day, I'm a worker out there on the court. Work hard. Nobody's gonna hand you anything. Take care of what you can control. Get really good at what you do. And at the end of the day, I'm big on being able to play defense, man. You got to be able to serve before you can lead.
Right, exactly. Now, you coached your son. You coached him in AAU. You coached him in high school. Jalen Benjamin, who's a pretty good basketball player himself, played at Leesville Road. I think he's at Mount St. Mary's right now.
He's at Mount St. Mary's. Yeah.
Mount St. Mary's. Talk about some of the challenges of coaching your son, especially when on the high school level.
There's a lot of challenges, man. I've heard it all when it comes to that. You want to be coach, you're also dad. You're wearing two hats at the same time. Then you're worried about everybody else and what they have to say. You're conscious about other people thinking you giving your son this and you're trying to build everything around your son. And, a lot of that just lets me know a lot of people didn't know who I really am. You're talking to a guy that I held Jalen accountable for everything. It's things that he listens to. And there's a lot of things that dad tells you that he looks, but at the end of the day, he looks at me like dad. I show him a drill or two, or we're having a conversation about the game, and he's not listening to anything I got to say. He's got his own way of doing things. And then somebody else will go tell him to do it, and he does it. He does the exact same way that they tell him.
That's it.
So as we get to going through the different levels, man, and it got to the point to where I just wanted to be dad, not coach. Mm-hmm. And my biggest thing was trust what you've installed in your kid. I always trusted that and trusted that he's going to do things the right way. That's my big thing. If he goes out there and he's out there jaw jacking and he get a tech, hey, look, buddy, me and you need to have a conversation because you just need to shut up and play the game. Let your game do the talking for you. Right. And it worked. It's worked out for him. I enjoy from my experiences passing them on to him and just really watching him grow. The coaching bit, coaching your son, and while he's on the team and coaching the team as well. One of the big things I wanted to do was win. Mm-hmm. He understood that part. If I had to choose, do I want to coach or do I want to be dad? Let me be dad all day. Mm-hmm. I'm the parent that sits on the opposite side of the gym in the corner. He'll see me, throw my hands up, and then I just sit back and watch. I'm not that coach on the sideline guy. Yelling orders. Nah, go play the game. You playing. I've had coaches talking to me about my son and asking me what I think, and I'm like, man, y'all have no idea that I don't care what y'all got going on. Mm-hmm. Just play hard. That's the one message that I give my son. Listen, dude, I don't care what you got going on out there in that court, but one thing that nobody better ever question is your effort out there on the court. Nobody better ever come to me tell me you ain't playing hard. We got problems there.
But when you look back on his high school career, and even now that he's in college, do you see a lot of yourself in him?
I do. I do. I taught him how to play. Mm-hmm. I taught him what I knew. I taught him what they said that I couldn't do. Also taught him what they said I was very good at. I think he's taken what I've taught him and put his own spin on it and taken it to a whole nother level. I'm extremely proud of him. He's tough, very well behaved. He's passionate, and he does what he needs to do. He's a worker. He understands how to play the game and what's needed to get done to win the game.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Before I let you get out of here, man, I got two more things for you, man. Carlisle's Complete 7, you and another former NC State Wolfpack have created a really good, a really great workout. I don't know, is it a facility, or just talk about what you have going on with the Carlisle Complete 7?
It's a multi-sport program. It's a workout. Right now we have a facility out in Wake Forest. It's a complete body workout. Jamie and I talk about it all the time. Like I wish they had this whenever I was playing. Mm-hmm. The things that it does, it transforms your body. It brings confidence. I got a couple of my guys coming out there to work out. Every kid that's come through the building and worked out, they love it. We got tires out there that everybody's working through, and it's one of those deals where it's a 30 to 45 minute workout. It's all about your pace. There's no weights involved. You're not pushing tires. You're actually using the tires to help build certain muscles in your core. You're getting great finger strength, and it is good for anything dealing with your athleticism. Mm-hmm. You know, I think in sports today we get so caught up into the skill that we forget the most important part is your body, and it helps condition your mind and your body, man. And it's incredible. It's unbelievable. You know, the people that's come through and experienced the workout, they like it. It's a great environment. The facility gives you an old school feel right now. We're still in the makings of building things, man. I encourage anybody and everybody to come through. Check us out, man. It's well worth your time. Well worth your time. We're flooding everything on social media with it.
Yeah, shout out to Jamie Knox, former NC State Wolfpack. I just had to get that out to make sure I give him his just due.
Definitely, man. Hey, listen, the biggest part, he's a great guy, and he's opened up doors for a lot of people out there. Exactly. You got to appreciate that.
Exactly. Last thing, man, and a lot of players, former Wolfpack players that have come on the show, I've asked, you know, those guys this one question that it's bothered me, you know, being a lifelong NC State Wolfpack fan. How do we get back to the glory days, you know, of the Jim Valvano, or, you know, you remember that rivalry that NC State and Carolina had back in the early 90s, you know, when Vinny Del Negro, Rodney Monroe, Chris Corciani. How do we get the program back to the national stage?
Man, come together. You know, the programs that I see that are successful, the past, present, and future Wolfpackers are all as one. You know, you gotta invite people, make people want to come back and give back to the program. You know, you can't just isolate one group or two groups. If you wore that uniform, you should be embraced. You know, you got a lot of guys out there that's got something to give, that wants to give back to the program. You know, and the guys that are there now need to understand and hear the stories of the guys that wore that jersey before you. You know, I'm a big fan of know your history. You know, I remember whenever I was at NC State, it wasn't nothing to see Jamie, guys like Jamie in the gym, Evan Thompson in the gym, Gugliotta, you know, Corciani. You know, these guys giving you advice on how to be successful, motivating you. You know, I remember working out with Chucky Brown at certain times whenever I was playing. You know, and now, you know, there's a disconnect with the program right now between former players and present players. You know, I understand all the NCAA and all this other stuff, but at the same time, why can't that be us? Why can't we have that bond that Carolina has, or even Duke has?
Exactly.
You know, I rich with tradition. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not the former players. You know, it ain't that. Is everybody that's involved, that's got the power to bring everybody together. You need to go ahead and embrace it, because we all love the Wolfpack. You know, shoot, I'm sitting here with a Wolfpack hat on now. I stay pissed off whenever we lose games. We care, because after those games, we all sit down and we talk about how things could get better. You know, we got pros, we got legitimate pros out there. You know, you got a lot of guys out there that want to be pros. How are you going to be a pro if you ain't around the pros?
Exactly.
You know, it's a culture thing right now that we got to get to pull everybody together. It ain't going to be one person. One person can't get it done. It's the group that's going to help us get back to where we need to be.
Yes, sir. Last thing, man. Again, give the people where you're located with your workout facility, the name of it, and any social media handle.
It's Carlisle Complete 7. It's off of Main Street in Wake Forest. Social media handle is man, I don't have it with me right. Yeah, I do. Hold on a second here. Grab one of my business cards. You could go to You can email us at carlislecomplete7@gmail.com. carlislecomp7@gmail.com. Or you can go, we do have a website. You can also go to our website, carlislecomplete7.com. CARLISLE complete7.com. We're open every day. We're open every day. Go to the website, check out the website, book a workout, come get it. We're there from 8 until 8 every day.
Hey, Ishua, man, I appreciate you coming on the show, man. This was, blessed to have you on, and hopefully, later on down the road, I can get you back on the show. But I will definitely see you guys soon at the spot. Again, thank you for coming on Sports Talk with PlayerAgent3, and I'll see you soon.